Welcome one and all to Swindon's Junkyard, a natural beauty spot where all of Animal Crossing's unwanted goods go to die. Except for this xylophone thingy here. I just love playing on it. Blinky plonky blinkety plonk. By now I'm sure you're all familiar with my monthly most popular villagers lists, which feature the 10 most wanted Tier 1 villagers in New Horizons. These videos are based on AnimalCrossingPortal.com's villager popularity list, which is updated twice a month, and these listicles always have very busy and wholesome comment sections that I really love reading through. One of the most regular comments I get on those videos is along the lines of, "Now do this video, but for the worst villagers in Animal Crossing." So that's exactly what I'm going to do for you all today. I've made my way to the bargain basement of AnimalCrossingPortal.com's villager popularity list to find out which villagers are languishing at the bottom of Tier 6. Villagers in this tier are classed as giveaways only, so you can kiss goodbye to becoming a billionaire if you're unlucky enough to spot one of your residents in this video. In fact, chances are you'll probably need to pay someone else to take them off your hands and not the other way around. So without further ado, here are the top 10 least popular villagers in Animal Crossing New Horizons, starting this week with number 10. Nobody knows for certain why Snooty the anteater here is so unpopular, but it's safe to say it's Snot because of her wonderful pink snout. Snooty is the only character in the game whose name matches their personality type, and this probably goes a long way towards explaining why she's so disliked. You see, Tier 6 on AnimalCrossingPortal.com's list is chock full of villagers with cranky and snooty personality types, so it's safe to say that these are the most despised dispositions of all. I think one of the main reasons why people avoid Snooty though is down to her default facial expression, which is a rather unfriendly scowl. She may have quite an elegant colour scheme with pinks, mauves and a lovely yellow accent on her tail, but that counts for nothing when it's ruined by those ever-present trips to Frowntown. Snooty does have at least one redeeming feature though. She absolutely loves it when people visit her in her stylish bamboo-themed house, although she does get real antsy if people start sniffing around her bamboo lunchbox. One thing's for sure though, it can't be illness that's making Snooty so unpopular. This unappreciated animal never gets sick because she's full of antibodies. I have no idea what people's beef is with Tbone, so perhaps his placement on this list is a mistake. Nevertheless, this blue buffalo is this month's 9th most unpopular villager. Tbone's name obviously comes from the T-bone steak, which, if you didn't already know, is a cut of sirloin beef that includes a T-shaped bone in it. Naming yourself after the tastiest part of your body is a bit weird, to be fair. It would be a bit like a chicken calling itself breast, so maybe it's that that's putting people off. I mean, would any self-respecting vegetarian Animal Crossing fan out there even consider voting for a villager whose name is based on the meatiest of meaty treats? I honestly don't think so. In other, less tasty news, Tbone celebrates his birthday on May the 20th, which makes him, quite obviously, a Taurus. Between that birth date and his name, it's safe to say that the people who created Tbone were really milking those cow references dry. So what does Tbone here think about being one of the least popular villagers in the game? Well, I asked him that question when he visited Swindon's campsite last month, and it turns out he doesn't have a cow man. As you can tell from this high-end home interior, Gigi the Frog is quite the classy lady. However, even with this love for all things expensive, she still can't afford a loyal fan base. This elegant amphibian may dress to impress with her beaded tank and her posh white gloves, but unfortunately these don't seem to go too well with her bizarre colour scheme. Gigi's purple colouring clashes quite badly with her blonde hair and garish green eyeshadow, and this makes her rather hard to look at. Combine that with those sinister sparkly eyes and her odd human lips which are frozen in a perpetual pucker, and you can see why people avoid inviting her to their island. To top off her Marilyn Monroe-inspired image, Gigi even sports a beauty mark on the left-hand side of her face, mirroring the positioning of that of the blonde bombshell herself. Sadly, this impersonation is less than it's croaked up to be, and her overall look means she's more Mon-no than Monroe. I'm sure Gigi has a few fans out there, but when it comes to the popular vote, this toad is staying in the hole. The first time I laid eyes on Rizzo, I thought he was wearing a pair of pants on his head, and I expect this uncomfortable first impression goes a long way towards explaining why this creepy rat is number 7 on this list of the lowest of the low. After a little bit of research though, it turns out those pants are actually something called a hokomuri, which is a traditional Japanese thief's mask, made out of a handcloth that ties under the nose. This means his look is inspired by Nezumi Kozo, aka the Rat Kid, who is a well-known thief and Japanese folk hero who is often compared to Robin Hood. This image of a retro reprobate is reinforced even further by the interior of Rizzo's home, which is based on a traditional old-school Japanese street, complete with its very own wanted poster, something which is obviously meant to signal that Rizzo is a right roguish rodent. The final layer on this cake of crime has to be Rizzo's shifty squint, with his half-shut eyes and raised eyebrows creating quite the suspicious and untrustworthy look. If I were a betting man, I'd say that it was that facial expression alone that's caused many people to say "rats all folks" when they spot Rizzo on a Mystery Island tour. In amongst a sea of cranky and snooty villagers, Paula is the only sisterly personality type who is currently residing at the very bottom of AnimalCrossingPortal.com's most popular list. So, what is it about this blonde-haired bear that makes people want to avoid her? I mean, it's not like she's the creepiest looking bear villager in the game, hello Beardo and Nate, so maybe it's just that she's pretty much unremarkable in every way. Yes, she wears a 70s hippie headband and sports some lovely bright blue eyeshadow, but all this does is make her look a little bit like she's someone's second favourite auntie. And apart from those little features, she's just ever so beige. Even her custom house is boring, with standard wood furniture arranged neatly around the room and only the most subtle of starry wallpaper tying everything together. It's just so run-of-the-mill, and at first I thought it was a default villager starter house and not a custom build. If you can bear to have Paula on your island, I'm sure she'd make a lovely addition to your town, as she's kind and caring and she'll always put your needs first. But you've got to be Pauling the other one if you think there's anything even remotely exciting about this Ursa Day. Bitty the Hippo is yet another snooty personality type, and just like Gigi, she's also inspired by a glamorous personality from the past. In Bitty's case, her name and her image are loosely modelled on Betty Boop, the cartoon character from the 1930s who was a caricature of a jazz-age flapper. Unlike the black and white Betty Boop though, Bitty here is bursting with colour, and she complements her bright pink hide with purple eyeshadow and 3 small eyelashes on each eye. Because Bitty is a snooty villager, she also has a big love of fashion, and you can see that mirrored in the look of her home, which is set out just like a tailor shop. This shunned seamstress has a variety of dressmaking tools at her disposal, including mannequins, an ironing board, 2 different sewing machines, and even a changing room, so you know she means business. Unfortunately for Bitty though, it seems like being fashionable just isn't in her genes, and her placement on this list just goes to show that she's more of a coat hanger-on than she is a full-on model villager. No wonder Harry the Hippo is a grumpy personality type. When he opens his mouth, his incredibly hairy beard makes his face look like an armpit, and this less than perfect presentation is probably why most people want to avoid him. Real-life hippos generally have very little hair on their bodies, so perhaps this disconnect from reality is why Harry here is so hard to look at. His features are just kind of unnatural. It's not just his unkempt beard that's full of foolish follicles, though. His eyebrows are also unnecessarily bushy, and this all comes together with his sickly greenish-yellow colouring to create a rather unsettling image overall. As you can see here, Harry's default outfit is a camo tee, but unfortunately for him, there's no blending in with a vomit-inducing visage like that. Here's hoping he can clean himself up a bit when he's finally unpacked his custom bathhouse-inspired home here, because, unless he has a shower and a shave soon, I fear he'll be propping up the hippopotamus of this most popular list for a long time to come. According to this list, being a popular frog villager isn't as easy as it's croaked up to be, because Croak here is the second amphibious inhabitant on this top of the flops. Croak is one of many cranky personality types to be featured in this video, but his constantly angry and irritated facial expressions really seal the deal, giving him a rather unpleasant vibe. It's a shame really, because behind the unwelcoming exterior lies quite a creative character, whose look and dress sense is based on the Bodhidharma, an Indian monk who was the inspiration for the traditional Daruma dolls in Japanese culture. I never got to speak to Croak in his natural habitat, which is a massive shame because he also has a rather awesome custom home interior. It's built to look like an autumnal forest, complete with piles of leaves for a campfire and 3 tall fall tree standees at the back of the room. When you're a character in a game that's all about cuteness, Croak here is living proof that being a big old sourpuss will do nothing but leapfrog you to the very back of the popularity queue. So if this unfriendly frog sends you a letter to ask if he can move onto your island, make sure you rib it up as soon as possible. Well, we've finally made it to the top 2 of this least popular villagers list, but to be honest with you, I think it's Quackers that Maëlle is anywhere near the bottom of this pile. I mean, just look at her beautiful Parisian streets-inspired custom home that comes complete with candy floss maker, coffee machine, phone booth, dainty iron furniture and pretty tree-lined wallpaper. It's also bright and breezy, and the whole open-air vibe is a refreshing change compared to the standard custom homes that some of the more popular villagers have. So what is it about Maëlle then that makes people duck for cover when they see her waddling their way? Well, it could be her snooty personality type, which means she can appear snobby and arrogant when you talk to her, but this brash attitude will often soften if you speak to her enough. The only real turn-off I can think of then is her physical appearance, which does look a little bit odd, what with her bright red helmet of hair and her glaringly green eyelids. But still, I think she's kind of cute in her own way. Maybe I'm wrong about Maëlle, and I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments if I am, but I think her low placement on this list is utterly foul. And finally, the least popular villager in Animal Crossing New Horizons for June 2020 is Boyd. This month's least popular villager, according to AnimalCrossingPortal.com's popularity list, is a primate example of how not everyone loves a bad Boyd. With a cranky personality type, Boyd the gorilla was always going to struggle when it came to making friends, but I think his furrowed brow is the thing that really turns people off because it makes him appear constantly angry. Well, it's either that or the fact that he likes to wander around town with his butt hanging out. Crikey, put it away, Boyd, this is a family show. Sort of. Although I never got to visit it on my travels, Boyd's custom house looks pretty cool too, and it perfectly matches his gruff exterior as it's set out like a building site. It's full of cold, hard items of furniture like old barrels, iron girders, and a wheelbarrow full of dirt, and that's hardly a recipe for the cutest of places to live now, is it? Is Boyd the worst villager I've ever seen? No. Does he deserve the top spot as the most unpopular villager in the game? In my opinion, nope. But still, this is what you Animal Crossing fans have voted for, so here he'll sit until next month when, fingers crossed, this list will be updated and he'll chart in a higher position. For now though, poor Boyd is stuck here being the worst of the worst, and I feel quite sorry for him, so maybe I should buy something to cheer him up. But what? Oh, I know. How about a bunch of grapes? And that, my AC-loving friends, is that. Those were the current 10 least popular villagers in Animal Crossing New Horizons for the month of June, according to AnimalCrossingPortal.com. But perhaps you've spotted one of your favourites on here and you think they've been treated unfairly. Let us know why you think they should be charting higher, or let us know which of the villagers you think actually deserve a place on this list in the comments below, so we can all have a nice big discussion about it. While you're doing that, please do give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to Eurogamer for more Animal Crossing videos, and much, much more coming soon. Oh, and if you haven't yet watched some of our other Animal Crossing videos, you can find a few of our previous listicles on screen to click on right now. Goodbye, and good luck avoiding those tier 6s. Oh, phew, glad that's over with. I was terrified that maybe all of my villagers would have been on that list, what with this being Swindon and all, but so far so good, I guess. Not sure why Lyman wasn't on that list, though. He deserves that bottom spot way more than Boyd.